Okay, hi everybody. Just waiting for those darn slides to load here. I wanted to go over. I don't know where the best place to put this is. Today's slides that you had to do. What did you have to do with slides? 30 something through whatever, 35 through 44, whatever it is. So yesterday was 35 through 44. Yesterday you went over how to do Punnett squares. Monohybrid Punnett squares is what we call them. Mono meaning one, and you're just dealing with one trait, whether it be eye color or flower color or round or wrinkled seeds, whatever it is. So today we are going to continue doing the monohybrids. So it's just dealing with one trait, but this time we're dealing with traits that are on the sex chromosomes. So again, if you remember, female sex chromosomes XX, male is XY, called X chromosomes XY. If it has a Y, it's a guy. Okay, so we can use Punnett squares to predict the sex of a baby. So basically, if you fill it all in, if you put like XX right up here, XY right here, and then fill that all in, there is a 50-50 shot of having a girl, 2 out of 4, 50-50 shot of having a boy, 2 out of 4. And so that's how you do it. Now, there are some, so besides the sex chromosomes, besides like giving the organism like its traits of male or female, there are other genes, traits that are located on there. One of them is, so they're carried on the X chromosomes called sex linked traits. And on this right here, this is a test that if you were to go get your eyes checked at the doctor, they would do that to see if you have color blindness. So hopefully you're looking at this right now and you can see all the numbers. What number's there? 25. What number's there? 29, 45, 56, 6, 8. If you could see all that, then, well, you're not colorblind. If you can't see them, well, then maybe you need to talk to your doctor about that. Anyway, so there are other examples of sex-linked traits. These are traits that are found on the X chromosome. So color blindness, is one of them. Hemophilia, I think we've talked about that in class before, but that's like a blood clotting disorder. Basically, your blood doesn't have those clotting factors. So if you get cut, you'll theoretically keep bleeding and bleeding and bleeding until you have no more blood to bleed out. Thankfully, modern medicine, there are things that people that are have hemophilia they can use, but it still can be a dangerous disorder. Muscular dystrophy is another one. Deals with muscular skeletal issues, and then baldness. We think right now it's on the X chromosome, but those are just some examples of sex-linked traits to where these genes are found on the X chromosome. So, when we do Punnett squares with these sex-linked traits, it works the same, but you have to add the X's and Y's, and then it says just add a superscript for the sex-linked trait. So you know how like before, how we did it yesterday, um, like you had big R or little r, well, you would also add that to the X's well, it's just going to be on the X, not the Y, only the X chromosome. And so you would add it to the X chromosome. So then it looks like, so if we used R's in this case, so you add it like as a superscript or a little r, you add it as a superscript like that. So here's an example. It says color blindness is a recessive trait. So you have to have like 2 recessive alleles to express the trait, found on the X chromosome. Mom is a carrier for color blindness. She has a recessive allele but doesn't express it. What would that look like? So we're going to use N's for this, for color blindness. So if she is a carrier, that means that she carries one of the recessive alleles but does have the dominant. So does she have color blindness? No, because the dominant trait is expressing over the recessive. Does this mean that maybe someday she could develop it? No, she's never ever going to have it because she has that dominant allele. What this means is that she could pass this down to her offspring, possibly. Okay, so that's mom. Dad has normal vision. Just by me saying and giving you the just the direction that the dad has normal vision, he only has one possibility of having normal vision. Remember, none of these none of the alleles, none of these traits that we're dealing with are found on the Y chromosome. So we will not be writing any of these superscripts with the Y, only with the X chromosomes, only with the X. So then it says, what percentage of boy and girl children will be colorblind? Okay. So dad has normal vision, capital N there. If you fill this in, so X big N, X little n, X big N, Y. Just like before, sorry, I'm trying to get positioned right here. You just fill it in like before. So I'm going to add these two together, X big N, X big N. This one will be X big N, X little n, X big N, Y, and then X little n, Y. Okay, so those are the possibilities. And here they are right here. So that's what it looks like. What does this mean? So you got to look at each box for this to figure out what this means. So this one right here, number one, I'm going to look at, is this a male or female, boy or girl? XX, that's a girl. And then a girl, she has big N, normal eye color. So that's a female normal eye color or normal no color blindness. This one right here, XX girl again, she does have that big N dominant trait, meaning she's not going to have color blindness, but this one has the lowercase n. So that means normal girl carrier. Okay, because that is meaning then that she's heterozygous for it and could pass that on to her offspring. XY, boy, big N. So that is a normal boy, not colorblind. And then this X little ny would be a boy, and then for sure has colorblindness. Okay, notice on this one compared to this one, for a girl to have color blindness, her genotype would have to be X little n, X little n, would have to be that. So she has to have two recessive alleles. When it comes to sex linked traits, men, boys, males, they only have to have one recessive allele to express it. Okay, so what do you think colorblind, or who do you think colorblindness is more common in? Male or females? Males, yeah, you guessed it. Okay. So then what does this all tell us? So 50%, so if we just look at the male, there's two of them. One out of the two for sure is going to be colorblind. So 50% of males will be colorblind. And then if we just look at just the females, so the two females, will they be colorblind? No, they won't. They will have normal vision. Males don't have a second allele to mask the recessive one. Yeah, just talked about that. So both of these females are going to have normal eye color. Just one out of the two will be a carrier. And you have a wonderful Amoeba Sisters video to watch. And now it's time for a formative on doing these sex link problems. So one thing I want to make sure that you understand when you're doing this, if it says it's sex linked, you have to, you will use the sex chromosome combinations. And then depending on what it is, like on that last one, we just used N's. You will use that for their, whatever their genotypes are. If this was a sex linked and we said the woman was heterozygous, then it would look like this. And then if we said the man is normal in this case for color blindness, then it would be a big N. Do we put anything on the Y? No, this is only an X linked. We're only dealing with X linked disorders or X-linked traits. And then when you plug that into a Punnett square, I wrote that bad. X and Y. You just like combine them all together. One thing I don't think I said before is you always put the capital letter first when you're writing them. I don't know, it's just what we do, but there's some exceptions to that. We'll get to that. And then, yeah, you would just fill it in, and then whatever percentages it's asking you for, then you would just give whatever those percentages will be. So hopefully that makes some sort of sense for you. If you do have any questions, please feel free to email me when you do your Flipgrid check-in. Maybe just let me know on there if you got some questions, and I can always do an individual Google Meet with you if you just needed some like one-on-one direction from me. Feel free to email me and let me know, and we can set that up. Otherwise, my office hours 11 to 11:30. Be there. I've had one person consistently come on. Nobody else really. Well, a few other people, but come see me. It would be great to see y'all. Okay, now I need to stop this. Goodbye, everybody.